Hi, I'm Robert,
And I'm Evelyn.
and this is Token About It.
So this is going to be a regular episode, I promise. I know we've had a lot of bonus episodes recently, but I really hope you enjoyed the Beowulf one.
Yes, that was a lot of fun, too.
And we have a couple more coming, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to have, a total of 6?
I think 6. Yeah, six little mini episodes, which I think are going to be really fun. But we're back to being at the regular episodes.
Right, and so we are at the chapter, The Passing of the Grey Company, which is the second chapter in book 5, which is the first book of Return of the King volume.
We got through that.
Yeah.
We wanted just a reminder because it's been a little bit for us too since we've recorded a regular episode. So we're trying to really get there. Get some backlogs in. It'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
So we aren't struggling. All right. So Passing of the Great Company. I had predictions and
Let's listen to them.
yeah, I already know I'm wrong. I'll just say
I knew you were
now.
wrong when you said them.
Well, I know you know I'm wrong. You've read the books before. But yeah, so my first prediction was Faramir and his friends were called the Grey Company. Yeah.
That's not correct, and I don't know why you even guessed that, because don't you think it would have came up when we were with them earlier?
That's exactly why I thought that. I'm just like, I know I've heard of the Grey Company. I think it was them where I heard it. So, yeah. And then my second guess was Faramir would come to the city. So I basically overall assumed we were sticking with Gandalf and Pippin for a minute. So I thought Faramir was coming to the city. And then I thought Faramir and Pippin were going to be friends. Which, can I make that a long-term prediction? Faramir and Pippin are going to get along?
Sure.
Because I feel like that's a thing that's going to happen.
Okay.
I feel like they're going to get along.
Okay.
So, as the very start of the chapter says, Gandalf whisks away on Shadowfax, leaving Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and Merry. So it's not even with them at all. So all of my predictions are automatically wrong in the first sentence.
Correct.
So we're back with the boys.
Yes, we're back. We're back with the 4.
Yes.
For a while.
For a small while, yeah.
So the Grey Company ends up being the Rangers.
Yes. So before that, they're just talking about how, what they're doing next, and that's when the Grey Company arrives, is as they're trying to figure out what their next step is.
Yeah. So let's begin at the beginning, because that's a very good place to start.
Very nice. Solid reference.
So Aragorn, he has brought a horse. And these horse things, I noticed before, but they kind of came up again. So Aragorn has brought a horse. The name is Hasufel. And Hasufel means dark skin or gray skin. And it just reminded me of the fact that that's opposite of Shadowfax.
Okay.
So I don't know why that means something to me, but it does.
Okay.
I think it's a good separation of
Okay.
Our Aragorn, the Grey Company, even called the Grey Company.
Yeah.
And Gandalf used to be the Grey Wizard. So it all kind of,
it just relates in an interesting way.
It relates. It's like it's like saltwater taffy doing one of those things in the machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of,
that's what your brain's doing.
That's what my brain's doing about it.
Though they do talk a lot about horses in this chapter.
Right.
They are talking a lot about horses, and they're given a lot of names. And that's something that I think just speaks to the culture of Rohan, where that's just something that is so important to Rohan. Thus, it's important to the chapter, where the horses are so important to them.
Right. And and so as we get going, uh, Aragorn is talking to Theoden, and Aragorn is saying, "I have to go off on my own. I can't go with you guys."
Yeah, and Theoden's like, yeah, that's okay.
But one of the things Aragorn says it is dark before me, and this is called back to Gandalf
In the last
in
chapter.
the chapter The White Rider,
Oh.
where Gandalf says, "But dark is the path appointed for thee. The dead watch the road that leads to the sea."
Oh, I totally forgot about that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, that's a good callback.
and and
A lot
then
of foreshadow there.
and then about this time, like two, maybe three pages in, they hear horses coming, so they stop, turn around, and get ready for an attack.
Yes, they get ready for a fight.
And
Even Mary.
well, and it's funny. I like how and Mary says it twice. I feel like unneeded baggage.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I feel that, like, sometimes, like, things are happening where it's like everyone else has like a mission and you're like, what do I do? What is my role in things?
Right. And so they show, but who it is, it's the Rangers. The Rangers appear looking for Aragorn.
Yes.
And once they find each other, Erohia, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Roir, something like that, tells Aragorn, "I bring you word. The days are short. As thou art in haste, remember the paths of the dead."
Yes.
And I always like the interesting part about how these names are made up.
Okay.
And so, uh, Eronherd, I can't believe I can't pronounce this
I mean,
today.
Tolkien did make it up, so we can just make it up too.
Well, his name means Elf Lord. But
yeah, because it's two of Elrond's sons, Elladan and Erohir, is what I was thinking in my head.
yeah, I think that's right. But
Okay.
what caught my attention this time, and I may have mentioned this before, but so Tolkien has used EL to mean elf.
Okay.
Now, EL in Hebrew, as he would know, or that pronunciation anyway, the L means God.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we get El Shaddai and things like that.
Okay.
Okay. And so I wonder if he consciously did that.
Interesting.
He probably, at the very least, unconsciously did that because
he's like super duper Catholic man.
right. Well, and and he knows Hebrew well enough to
Yes.
translate
He
regular Hebrew into the Bible.
Yes, he translated a book of the Bible from Hebrew,
Yeah,
so he definitely knows.
Right.
Whether he knows or not.
Right. And so, as Evelyn mentioned, there's a connection here. And so Elrond here is the son of Elrond and Celebrand. She is known as the Silver Queen.
And then they also bring him a letter from their sister.
Right, because their sisters is Arwen. By the way, that also means all three of them are grandchildren of
Galadriel.
Thank you. Okay, so now this is where I wanted to go down the rabbit hole for a minute.
Okay, I like rabbit holes. Let's go.
Okay, so speaking of, Elrond, okay, Elrond in The Hobbit is called Elrond the Half Elf. Now, he's never referred to that in Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Okay, so and his father is Eredin, the mariner, who was a half elf.
Oh, so his father was a half elf. So he had a full elf mother, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and
so he's really a quarter elf.
He's really a quarter, but you don't say a quarter elf. I failed. I'm 1/23 of an elf. So, and what's also interesting is that his father, Elrond's father, um, Earendel, took place in what was known as, and I had completely forgot about this until I started doing my research rabbit hole,
Uh-huh.
the Battle of the Eagles and the Dragons.
Okay, that sounds lit. Is that something we're going to be reading?
It's
Is
very, it's like very supplemental.
So once we get to supplemental, we'll read it. Okay, can we read that first? That sounds awesome. That sounds just awesome. The Eagles versus the Dragons. Yes, please. That's like God's no oh, what was it? It's the giant squid versus
Mothra?
Mothra, yeah, like or Godzilla versus King Kong, like that's kind of the thing that or like Shark Apocalypse or something.
Yeah. So so they took place. It's also known as the War of Wrath.
Okay.
Okay. Now the Battle of Eagles and Dragons took place at the time where Saruman, no,
Sauron.
Sauron was still on Morthor.
Oh, so it's baby evil, not full evil, just baby evil.
Right.
Okay.
And um, Erendir himself killed the Black Dragon, Ancalagan. Ancalagan the Black is what the name of the dragon was.
Okay.
This is also the same. This is a battle within the same war where most of the Balrogs were destroyed, and the remainders hid in the center of the earth. And
Okay.
this was a big deal.
This was like one of the first like battles of good versus evil.
This is one of the first big evils of the battle. The first wars of
good versus evil.
Evil,
Okay.
as you said. And I can't talk today. I don't know why.
That's okay.
I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Okay. See, my mind is all over the place.
Usually it's me. Ha ha ha. See where I get it, folks?
But okay, so now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Mm. So they are ready to like depart. They're ready to split the group and go. And Mary is like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't really go with you guys. I'm not much help there. So he ends up talking to the king.
Okay, but before all this.
Oh, did I miss something?
Well, it's but just so we don't forget because I would have to flip my page to continue with you. So Aron here brought Aragorn a gift from the Lady of Rivendell. Now, which that's what he calls Arwen.
Yeah.
But which is interesting because the Lady of Rivendell usually refers back to Elrond's wife.
Yeah.
The queen.
Okay.
So I just thought that was interesting.
I did too. I noticed the language. I did notice that. I'm like, interesting. I guess it's because she takes like a large role in the running of Rivendell. Was kind of my guess.
Right, and what they bring is it's a pole with something wrapped on the other end.
Okay.
And Aragorn tends to know exactly what it is, but ain't saying right now.
Yeah.
And then they start walking around, showing the Rangers who just showed up the area they're in.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, that's where we battled over there, and that's where we did this over there, where we did that over there.
And Gimli has to bring up his thing with Legolas being like, and that's where I won by one word.
And then Theoden calls Merry to his table because this might be the last time that the king gets to hear about the Shire.
Right, and he's interested.
Which was a promise.
Yes, yeah.
Um, and Mary is also offered a pony, so he doesn't have to ride
with anyone else.
in front of someone else.
Yeah. Which I think is really sweet.
Yes.
And they're just like, and yeah, this pony is awesome. He can keep up with a regular horse. We got you, fam. Which is adorable.
Right. And then Mary is so moved by this gift, he gives his service to Theoden.
Which hobbits... This must be a hobbit thing, right?
I don't think so.
Or is it Merry and Pippin being like high class?
Right.
Kind of thing.
Oh.
Where they're more gentry-ish.
Yeah, this goes back a little bit to a discussion I was part of a couple of weeks ago on Facebook about whether or not hobbits are really anarchists because they don't have a king. They're the only society.
They have inherited titles though,
Yeah,
like governor and everything,
right?
and mayor.
But they don't have a king. They don't have a real absolute ruler.
True, they just have rulers. Like they just have like almost like lawmen over.
Yeah, sheriffs.
Sheriffs, yeah.
Which is sheriffs, if you get.
I know. I remember being upset.
And which is interesting, and the people that have influence, as it were, it's still family handed down, kind of.
But they take their roles very seriously.
Right.
It's not like and which is something that we see in Lord of the Rings it's not just the hobbits. Like everyone takes their role very seriously as being like leaders over their people. But yeah, the hobbits, I mean, I feel like it's just Tolkien's utopia, where you don't have to have an absolute ruler to be happy and organized and nice and have a good life.
Right. But also
where there is a way of being content. And that's what I think about the hobbits in the Shire, where it's his utopia of contentness.
Right. But what we know of the hobbits, they don't need an iron fist to keep them straight.
Yes, they're automatically like, they're not good people, but they're still like common sense, I guess.
Right, because
I mean, they're a little bit on the like the tidier hoity-toity side a little bit.
I mean,
but
and then they also have some really strange rules, and it kind of reminds me of Leviticus a little bit.
Okay.
Like for example, certain documents are not legal until 11 witnesses sign it in red ink.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is supposed to symbolize signed in blood.
Right.
Which, yeah. So we have that. We also know that some of the houses do have sway over the rest.
Yeah.
So like the Tooks.
Yeah.
Pretty much have sway over that area of the Shire.
Right.
But then we have people like the Sackville Bagginses.
The Saxville Bagginses.
The Sackville Bagginses, who think they're that way.
Right. They're Slytherins. They're very ambitious. they're like me a little bit, which is why I think I love them so much. I mean, I'm a different type of Slytherin, but like they're very ambitious where they want to have more. And it's like hobbits aren't immune from, I guess, the 7 deadly sins, like greed. They aren't immune from that. But it's still better than, like, they're not evil, is what I'm trying to say. It's like, they're not evil. They aren't immune from sin, but they're not evil.
Okay, yeah, right. Then we have another gift to Aragon.
Yes.
Aragon, they brought him his actual horse.
Yay!
Which is called Rohirrim. And this horse was once a gift from Arwen.
Oh, okay.
And it's also known as Steed of the Lady. Now, in the books, it doesn't tell us what it looks like. At least I couldn't find anything in the books. So in the game Lord of the Rings Online,
Uh-huh.
it's black. The 2 or 3 places I was trying to find that information, they never said he was black,
Uh-huh.
but the accompanying picture was always a black horse.
Okay.
So now, in just a little bit, we've gone from Aragon being on a gray horse to now a black horse.
Okay.
And I think that symbolizes how far he's moving away from Gandalf
Mm.
as far as what he feels he needs to do.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of how I interpret it.
Okay.
Right? And it's also foreshadowing something that's going to happen later in the chapter.
Okay. I totally must have missed that then. But anyway, so Merry feels useless again, and he swears himself to Theoden.
And so Merry ends up
Like a squire.
And being a squire, and ends up accompanying
him back to where he was going.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, cool.
So now we have
Great job, guys.
So now we have both Merry and Pippin, who are squires / knights.
Yeah.
In different kingdoms.
Yes.
And that's going to be really interesting when we get way towards the end of the books. And I don't know why I forgot this when I was reading it, but they said, these rangers, the horses don't have any embellishment on their tack or their saddles.
Mm-hmm.
Even they don't have any real embellishment except for a raid star that keeps their cloak closed.
Mm-hmm.
And the raid star is really just like an 8-point star.
Okay.
Like,
what does this symbolize? I know it symbolizes something. What does
it symbolize? It just symbolizes the stars, which symbolize so much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That they use for
right,
for guidance and transportation, and I can't find the actual word I'm looking for.
Okay. Inspiration. Inspiration. Transportation.
No.
Guaranteeation.
No.
Urination.
Oh my gosh, stop. I'm actually trying. Navigation! It was navigation!
You said that word.
Did I say that word?
Yes.
Whoops.
So.
Okay, so now we start really hearing the stuff about paths of the dead.
We're
not there yet?
We're stopped. We're yes, but no.
Okay.
So, I didn't write her name down. What's her name?
I wrote it now. Hold on. Eowyn.
Eowyn. She comes to talk to Aragorn. She's wearing battle.
Yeah, she's ready for battle.
And she wants to go with him.
Right. She very much declares it's like, I am a shield maiden, not some homemaker.
Right. And wants to go with him. And this time when I read it, I saw it as kind of twofold. One, she's got a wicked crush on him.
Mm-hmm.
But two, I'll never be able to do this with my father in charge.
Uncle.
But, my uncle in charge. But you will take me as a fellow warrior.
Rather than a niece in need of protection.
Right. And you will be taking me into that role knowing that I can handle myself.
Right.
So, but he says, no, you need to stay with them. Where we're going, nobody wants to go, especially me. And later on, Gimli's like, especially me!
Yeah.
Which all has a little bit of, interesting.
And he really talks about how, like, they don't really see her as, like, the homemaker. They see her as a warrior who is the last protection of her people.
Right.
They see her as, like, we may not survive. We need you to survive to protect everyone.
Right.
Is what he really explains, which I really like from Tolkien.
Right.
He it's not, it doesn't come off as like a sexist thing. It comes off like, no, you are a great warrior. We need you just in case we all perish, because we probably will.
Right. And so here, the king and all the troops and everything continue to take off, heading towards what's called the Halbrod. No, that's the person's name.
I didn't write it down. I'm sorry.
Weapon Take. They leave to head to Weapon Take,
Okay.
which just means where all these armies are going to meet.
Okay.
So I mean, it's traditionally this place where
the armies come to fight.
Where armies come to meet together because they're coming from different parts of the kingdom and different kingdoms and
Right. So it's like a halfway point kind of deal.
right. And so Halbrand, which was one of the rangers that came with the rest of them, briefly mentions that, I know plenty about the hobbits. I've been assigned to watch the Shire's borders almost my whole life. Mm-hmm. And that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because somewhere, probably through Gandalf, somewhere, there's this idea that we have to protect these people for some important reason.
Yes.
So,
yeah, it's most likely Gandalf who's just like, no, these guys are actually like super important because they're really different from the rest of us, and so they need to be protected because we don't want them corrupted. Right. Kind of thing. Because I feel like if the hobbits got corrupted, it's going down.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
It's going to be bad.
And so this is where one of the places.
I mean, look at Gollum.
This is one of the places I'd rather not. This is one of the places that I wanted to ask you about. So here we kind of get a replay, a remembrance of when Aaron picked up that stone.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And actually,
yeah, I wrote that down.
And kind of did a stare down.
Yeah.
Sauron.
Yeah. What was your question?
Well, what's your take? What's your take on how he's explaining that? And what and
so his friends are definitely concerned because it's like, yo, that's pure evil. But I feel like because he is the true king, like that's the reason he can't like get corrupted or go insane or whatever it's supposed to happen, because he is the true king and he is of that like special line of men where he is just, even though he may be morally gray, he's still good. Like in his heart he's still pure good. And I think like it's a mixture of just like him just being good and then being the true king and then being of that race of men, where just all of that combined allow him to just be able to be like, it's no big thing.
Right. And this is one of the places also where it really stands out about Tolkien kind of believing in, having the blood of your ancestors type of thing.
Yeah.
Because what you get out of reading that part is because he is technically the king.
Yeah. He is the king.
Yeah, that he's technically the king and king by blood.
Yeah.
That he rules over all 7 of these orcs.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
okay.
Because it was his ancestors that sent them out so they could talk to each other.
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if I can't remember if he necessarily had them commissioned to be made, but I know that he's the one that decided who got one.
Okay. That's cool.
And now Now Aragorn says, "We must press on. Our enemy awaits," type of thing.
Yeah.
But when they start talking about uh, where they're going,
Mm-hmm.
we finally have a song.
Yeah. Are you gonna sing it?
I'm not going to sing it. I'm just
Thank
going to
God.
read it.
Okay.
I can sing it like opera.
Please don't.
Over the land. Okay.
That's enough of that.
Yes, it is. Over the land there lies a long shadow, westward reaching wings of darkness. The tower trembles, to the tombs of kings down approaches. The dead awaken, for the hour is come for the oath breakers. At the stone of Irch they shall stand again, and hear there a horn in the hills ringing. Whose shall the horn be? Who shall call them? From the great twilight, the forgotten people. The heir of him to whom the oath they swore. From the north shall he come, need shall drive him. He shall pass the door to the paths of the dead.
Which, okay, so obviously this is very much about Aragorn and everything.
Yes.
But I wanted to bring up the fact that this is extremely Viking / Anglo-Saxon here, where like this gave me a lot of like foreshadowing because I know about like oath breaking kind of stuff in that kind of sense where um basically in like Norse and like northern mythology, well, most mythology actually, breaking an oath is like an ultimate sin. And there are dire consequences. And so to me, even before we got to like the end, this to me said it's like, okay, there's a bunch of people that broke some oaths that most likely are dead, that are going to have to come back and fulfill their oath to be able to pass on to the next life. I will say though, when my guess was, my first thought was they were going to go to that swamp place where that Frodo and Sam went to, where we saw the dead people. That was my guess when I was first reading. I'm like, oh, are they going here and raising them up from the swamp? Which is kind of a cool visual. It's obviously it's not what happened, but I thought that was where it was going. But I was kind of close.
But also remember, we're told that the dead that are there are the dead that died in battle.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's true.
So
yeah,
but
they didn't break their oaths,
right,
unless they fought for the wrong side.
And then here, I wrote notes here. I think we've already come past.
Just go.
But so Lady Eowyn and Aragorn, when they're talking, one of the things that she talks about, and I love this turn of phrase. She says she's afraid. She fears a cage.
Yeah.
She feels like she might get caged away from the battles, from everything that's important going on.
Right.
You know, like you would hide away a porcelain doll. I mean, that's not what she says, but that's the idea.
Essentially it, yeah.
It's the idea. And begs to go with the three of them. And Aragorn's like, and this is when Aragorn's like, no.
You're needed.
You're needed here.
Yeah, where he puts it in context, which I mean I totally get. It really reminds me of the Game of Thrones quote, "Porcelain, ivory, steel," which is the motto of Sansa Stark, which is a tattoo that I really want because I love the meaning behind it. But anyway, Sansa Stark's my favorite Queen of the North. Yes, Queen. All right, so
worst actress ever.
She's good in Game of Thrones. But anyway, so the Porcelain Ivory Steel is about how like she started off as this like porcelain doll who had to toughen up through her experiences in life, and I feel like that's something with Eowyn as well, where her upbringing has toughened her up, and she wants to now pay that back, pay that forward, and keep going.
Okay. So now they start heading towards these paths of the dead.
Yes.
And one of the things they do is they pass under these dark trees.
That even the horses don't want to go through.
Even Legolas gets the
gets the squirmies.
The squirmies from just being very uncomfortable and almost paranoid.
Yeah.
Because these woods don't feel right.
Yeah, and I love how it talks about the horses. Again, they just talk about horses a lot in this chapter, and they talk about how the horses here that are of the rangers, they trust their rangers so much. Like, they are such bonded that it's like, as long as the rangers are like hearted towards it, the horses will continue. But it was the horse from Rohan that was like, nope, sorry, bye. And Legolas had to use like elf magic and everything and sing to it to be able to like keep walking through.
Right. And then as they get close to this entrance underground, Legolas goes through, Aragorn goes through, and Gimli is kind of out there, and it even says his knees were shaking.
Yes, yeah.
He's trying to pump himself up to go in, and right before he walks in, he says, "An elf would go underground and a dwarf not." What is this crap all about, basically?
Yes.
Yeah. And so basically, he goes because he's not going to let
He's not going to let Legolas go and him not.
Yeah. There's still a lot that go on here that I kind of don't want to talk about
because it goes into other stuff.
Well, no, it's such for people who might be following along who haven't read this yet or just read this. There's a lot of spoiler territory here.
Okay.
So
we should probably
we're going to dance around.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So at some point they come upon the bones of a mighty man.
Yes.
Which ends up being the king of the dead. And the ghost of the king of the dead kind of shows up. Hey, what you doing here? And he recognized him as the true king. And say, this is the time for the oath breakers to make up.
To make amends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I love that that last kind of line. It's like the dead have been awakened.
Yeah. And so was there anything else that you wanted?
No, I just thought this was a very straightforward chapter. I know you had warned me going into it that it was like a lot of information dump, but this was an information dump that I enjoyed. Like it wasn't like dry and like just oh my gosh. This was actually something I actually enjoyed the chapter more than like I thought I would.
Okay.
Because you had warned me against it.
Yeah, because I warned you.
Maybe, yeah.
So.
But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So nothing else to cover here. Two things, folks. One, if you want to write in or whatever to tell me how those names that I chopped up are pronounced.
Yes, please let us know.
That'd be great.
We don't know. Plus, I'm dyslexic, and you're like a little dyslexic too.
Right.
So it's.
And also, most of the other names and everything, I've been able to find pronunciation guides, but I couldn't find pronunciation guides for some of these. So our next chapter is.
I was just looking it up. What's the next chapter?
Muster of the Rohan.
Muster of the Rohan. Okay. So I'm assuming right away, first prediction, they're gonna march to meet up with with another army. Can I make the second prediction that army is gonna be the army of Gondor? Can I make that a separate prediction?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna say they're gonna go meet up with an army. Pretty sure that's gonna be the armies of Gondor. What was it again? The Muster of Rohan?
The Muster of Rohan.
I think Eowyn is going to have more like screen time or book time. in this chapter.
Okay.
Can I predict that?
Sure. Yep.
I think that was one of the easiest predictions I've made.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong, but that was I feel like that was an easy chapter to try to get predictions out of.
Okay, so
It wasn't like a Floats and Jetsons.
I have to say, so I'm disappointed a little bit in your predictions because I thought you were going to take the word mustard and run away with condiments and ketchup and stuff like that. But the other part of me is I'm glad you saw that that's not what that means.
I'm not that dumb. I'm a little dumb, but not that dumb. Yeah. All right.
But mustard is a traditional word of all, like the whole company.
Yeah, no, I know.
Gathering together.
Yeah.
And so forth. I'm telling now.
Oh, okay. I forgot we were recording for 2 seconds. Sorry, folks. But
that's how she is in real life, folks.
If you want to see me on caffeine, you should definitely listen to the first Beowulf episode. Next Beowulf episode will be out the week after this episode comes out. We're doing every other week with that while we do our mini series. So I hope you enjoy that.
I think that's it.
That's it for this chapter. All right, I've been Evelyn.
And I've been Robert.
And we're talking about it.